Erev Tov, everyone.
Erev Tov, Rebbe.
How are you, Frank?
Baruch Hashem, well, Rabbi, well, nice to
Is
be back.
everyone well?
All well, thank
Everyone
you, Rebbe.
well? Good,
All
good.
well,
Let's
yeah.
see who's joining us. I see that there's few people joining us. Oh, I see Brian and Glenda joining us. I see Jeffrey with us. Oh, here's Dr. Liz. Dr. Liz, Erev Tov, how are you?
Wow. Okay, so
I'm sure
tonight I
that you
can
have a
tell
lot
just
to
very
report
good
to us
news.
tonight. You have a lot to,
Yeah,
a lot, huh?
just Nissim and
Nisim
Niflot, thank God, at
ונפלאות,
least we can,
ניסים ונפלאות.
we,
We
Rabbi,
have
I
to
must
say
tell you,
מזמור לתודה. We have to say מזמור
for
לתודה.
sure.
When you sing tomorrow, רבותיי, when we sing tomorrow מזמור לתודה, רבותיי, just before
Yeah,
Dr. Lev's gonna explain to us what's happening in Eretz Israel. Tomorrow when we say מזמור לתודה, we should sing it straight after ברוך שאמר. We say מזמור לתודה. We must sing it and must have the meaning for all the miracle. Ballistic missiles that been shot, over 100 ballistic missiles. Unbelievable. No casualty? Yad Hashem. רק יד השם. בכבוד, Dr. Les. Sorry about it.
okay, so it's not at all. So Rabbi, over Shabbos and over Friday, we know that there was going to be a response from Iran, and we were all on tenterhooks. We really were. People were worried how they're going to respond, and the Shabbos was very uneasy. But we in shul, we had a kiddush in our shul, and people were very nervous. Anyway, so Motzei Shabbos, we started getting reports that America has confirmed that it's not if but when Iran's going to respond. And at 11 o'clock, we were glued to the Israeli television and to CNN and Sky and Fox and France 24 and I-24. So at 11 o'clock, they said that already drones, there've been a wave of drones, about 100 drones that have been launched from Tehran, from Iran. And then there was a second wave of drones and then a third wave of drones. And they said it's going to take about 3 hours. And Mamish at about 5 to it was like 5 to 11, 12, 1, 5 to 1, going on for 2 o'clock, no, 5 to 2. The sirens went off and we all went down to the bomb shelter. And it was just unbelievable, all standing, sitting in the bomb shelter there. But we had heard, even in Yerushalayim, we had heard like the booms and we had heard noises above. But everybody knew that you have to go. You can't just stand on like the merpesa, the veranda, and have a look what's going on. You have to immediately go down to the bomb shelter because in previous conflicts, people had gone outside to have a look, and unfortunately, one of the rockets fell on them and they were killed. So people take it very seriously. Now, what has transpired? It was just the most unbelievable. When we came up, we saw the news and we saw the miracle that not only had Israel intercepted 99%. There were ballistic missiles and there were these very, very dangerous drones, which Iran has given to Russia, which has caused havoc in Ukraine and destroyed cities in Ukraine with these drones. It's not simple drones. But America downed 70 of these drones and 3 ballistic missiles, major ballistic missiles. And there's video footage of some of these missiles that are in the Dead Sea. It's just lying on the Dead Sea and in Iraq. And what had happened is that Jordan, can you believe, miracles upon miracles? Jordan also downed, they closed the airspace and they also downed some of these drones that were coming from Iran. And now it's transpired. We just heard tonight that Iran had told Turkey about their intentions, and then Turkey told America. So Turkey warned America that this was going to happen. Who would believe? I mean, Turkey is not a great friend of Israel's, but the miracles that you have Jordan, in a way, downing some of the drones that were coming to attack Israel. And the IDF, the Air Force, has been incredible. It's mamish. It's like Yad Hashem. It's the most amazing miracle. And what's also incredible, Rab, is on Google, while this was happening last night, they said that have the highest ever search for Israel, Tehillim, and Psalms. People all over the world, especially here in Israel and all over the world, were Googling Tehillim and Psalms. And there's a spike in Google on the search engine for the word Psalms and Tehillim. So, we know that if we say Tehillim, Hashem will, Bezrat Hashem, protect us, and it's so powerful. And what happened last night is just, it's phenomenal. America said they would support us in our defense. It's an ironclad support for Israel for the defense. And what they did say is that it's a win. I mean, it's not only a win, it's mamish a nace, it's a miracle. And people here are very worried that if we retaliate, because Iran did say to America that this is it, they're not going to continue, and they finished for the, but this is for the time being. But we have to step back and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the whole of Am Yisrael are relieved. It's like, I cannot tell you the relief to think there was one Bedouin girl where part of the shrapnel from one of the missiles did fall and she was injured, but to think that no one was killed and no major Dimona. There were missiles going towards Dimona, to the nuclear site in Dimona, and to the air base right close to Dimona. But Baruch Hashem, Hashem saved us. Mamish, it's just, they call it the modern Star Wars, and it is really like Star Wars. We were witnessing, not in the movies, in reality, but we were witnessing Yad Hashem. Okay, Rav, so it's Nisim Beniflaot.
Dr. Les, we hardly can hear you. We lost you.
Okay, it's just very good news, Rav. Very good news. It's very good news. So we just want to wish everybody a Shavua Tov, and we really must thank Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for saving us.
Yeah, Shavua Tov. My son was on an air base that you spoke, right next to Dimona, that we received. My little boy is in the army, so he's serving there, and at 5 o'clock in the morning, you can understand that last night at the Sfaradim Shul, we actually hot at 12 o'clock, and at midnight, after midnight, at 5 o'clock, I got a message from my son that everything's okay, because we knew that it's coming, and we was in touch with my son, and he told us that, Baruch Hashem, ראינו חסדי השם, כי האמת צאתך מארץ מצרים הראינו נפלאות, said the prophet.
Yeah.
נפלאות. This is nothing from what's still going to happen before the Mashiach comes. This is just what we call it, the starter. Be'ezrat Hashem. Anyway, Rabotai, let's start the shi'ur. I'm sorry I was late a bit because we done Achnasat Sefer Torah at the Sfaradim, and it started at 2:30, but it took too long, and then the meal, so I decided to delay the shi'ur by half an hour. But with no more, I would like to dedicate the shi'ur in the soul of Esther Kadem Bat Kiretzia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, Tamar Bat Zeava, Itan Ben Keren Avishai Nae, Malka Regina Bajoya, Yaakov Solomon Ben Farha, Farha Bat Salha. Also in health of Lior Bat Miriam, Nashenaji Ben Farha, Rav Moshe Ben Bayabatia, Rav Moshe Ben Devora, Rav Shlomo Yehuda Ben Dalia, Rav Abraham Ben Marina, Dvorah Bat Esther, Shaina Keila Bat Hana, Mordechai David Ben Leah, יהודה הלל בן שולמית לאה, חיים נחום בן פסח רזה הכהן, ברוך בן שרה חיינה, אהובה קדן בת טלי, אסתר לאה בת רחל, פסח יצחק בן אלה, איילה עדן בת רבקה, נטלי מלכה בת שר רבקה טל, יהודה בן אליעזר, מאיר בן יהודה, אריאל בן שילת, אורי בן יעל וחנניה שלום בן אביגדור, בכל חולה ופצועי עמו בית ישראל בכל מקום שהן. Rabotai, please, I would like to appeal to everyone just before we start the show. Tomorrow morning, straight after Baruch Shamar, every day we say Mizmor LeTodah. Try to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you. When we say Mizmor LeTodah, try to sing it in your heart. You know, when you say it, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the great miracle that He showed us, that what's happened, okay, what's happened and Motzei Shabbos. How did HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked after us? That's all what we have to say. Thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and Be'ezrat Hashem we'll see Nisim. Rabotai, we reached to Arba'a Banim. Jeffrey, you with us? Arba'a banim, נכון? And we spoke about the Hacham, and then that's where I think that when we stop, if I'm not mistaken, and I would like to explain what is Arba'a banim. כנגד ארבעה בנים דיברה התורה. Okay? Does that mean that the Torah tell us that, the Agada, כנגד ארבעה בנים דיברה התורה. בכבוד, Jeffrey, you want to say it? כנגד ארבעה בנים, the awards the four sons, okay,
yes.
that the Torah speak. One, אחד רשע, say it from the beginning.
But you mean it said Shaino, Yodaya?
No, from the beginning. From the beginning.
Oh, from
the beginning.
Okay. The wise child. What does he say? I want to know all about the different kind of mitzvahs that Hashem our God told you to do. Since this child wants to learn, you should teach him all the laws of Pesach, up to the last law of the Seder, that we are not allowed to eat after the Afikoman.
Yeah, okay. So what's happening here? We have to understand what's happening here. What is the Hacham? Why is the Torah tell us about the Hacham? What's so special about the Hacham? But the Mefarshim explain about something very interesting. That if you look at all the sons, they're representing actually something very interesting. So the Hacham, like we explained in the show, and we explained what the Hacham said, Ma'u Omer. What it means, Ma'u Omer? The Mefarshim explain by that. Hazal said by that he said Ma'u Omer. You have to listen. What did he say? What is he speaking? If you listen to Talmid Hacham, what is he speaking? He's speaking about, let's say that he going to visit a country. He go and look at Eretz Israel. I've been in the Kotel. I'm going to visit Ma'arat HaMachpelah, the grave of the patriot. He only speak about the yeshivot that he see, the Talmidei Hachamim. He said that's how you define by what people speak about. What is he like? Is he a Hacham or is he not? Okay, that's what we explained last week. But what I want to bring today, that actually that the four sons actually representing the four exiles that we had. And which four exiles I'm talking about? The Hacham actually represent the exile of Babylon. After the first destruction, when the Babylonians destroyed Bet HaMikdash, the first Bet HaMikdash, what's happened there? That in that generation, we have Talmidei Hachamim. Who they was? Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. Okay, and that time include Daniel. We know that Daniel was there. Many great Rabbonim. So Hacham said that the first exile that the Jewish people gone, that was Galut Bavel, the exile of Babylon. And that's actually awards the Hacham. Then come Rasha, the wicked. Who was the wicked that we're talking? That's Malchut Madai, the exile of Madai. Who's Malchut Madai? And that was during the time of Haman HaRasha. That Haman HaRasha, that was a wicked, he wanted to kill, to destroy, to annihilate every Jew. Does that sound familiar with Iran, with all of her, those that she tried to send? For example, the Hezbollah, the Hamas, the Houthis, all of them, all of those rubbish. That's Malchut Madai. Madai, Paras u'Madai. What it means, Paras u'Madai, just for us to understand. Paras is Persia. Madai, they added up what they call it in Hebrew, Parsi Meduni. What it means, Parsi Meduni? It was Persia, and then they add up another countries that we know that later on, when the king Ahasuerus was in charge about 127 countries, that means that all of those countries joined to the Persian country. And that's what they call it Galut Madai Milshon Medina, Meduni. Meduni is in Persian. To tell you something very interesting, you know which one was the second exile that the Jewish people was? It was during the time of Haman HaRasha that wanted to destroy, to kill, to annihilate every Jew. And 127 countries of the Hashverot. And then come the Tam, okay? Okay, that's the simple person. Which exile that's speaking about? So the Mefarshim explained that affords the exile of the Greek. When the Greek was in charge in Eretz Israel, if you remember. That means in that time that we had the war with the Greek, when Matityahu and the Hashmonaim, Matityahu, Kohen Gadol, and the Hashmonaim, you remember that he was Tam. What it means Tam? He was Kohen Gadol. He never learned in an academy of war. He never gone to the army. He never even have an army. But Matityahu, when he hear that what his daughter, when she done it, what she done in the front of her fiance, in the front of her brothers, in the front of her in-laws, immediately those words penetrate to the hearts, and a small group of Kohanim, with them the Hashmonaim, Bet Hashmonaim, joined together, and there was 70 men, Hazal said. 70 men, that's all. And Matityahu was an old man already, wasn't a youngster. Join and start the war against the great Greek Empire. And that's what it's called Tam. That they were so simple that they trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and they're going to war against the greatest nation in that time, the Greek nation. And then come a generation that we are living, that doesn't know how to ask. That's Malchut Edom. That's the exile of Edom. That's the longest exile, okay, that we're living. And we see today, in our eyes, the great confusion that there is in the world. That look how people thinking that the Hamas that opened a war against Israel on 7th of October, they invaded the land of Eretz Israel. They killed, they murdered, they butchered, they raped, they burnt babies, they abused, they tried to annihilate the entire Jews, okay? And people still support them. People doesn't understand the world, what's right, what's wrong. You see the confusion in the world. And Hazal said that's Malchut Edom. The kingdom of Edom, the exile of Edom caused so much confusion in the world that everyone confused. You know, in America, for example, I didn't know it. My family told me, and I was surprised that if a person decide that a male decide that he's a female, he's a female. You can't change it. When I heard that, I was shocked. He can go, if a male decides that he's a female, he can go to the toilet of the ladies. Shigaon. If a person decides, my daughter that was in Shlichut in America, she told me that it's beyond understanding. If a guy decides that he's a dog or he's a cat, you can't say anything. A person to think that he's a dog, but you're a human being. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created you as a human being. No, you want to be a dog. So now you have to treat him like a dog. You have to respect his wishes. Do you understand that stupidity, confusion that we're living in this time of the world? And Hazal tell us that this world time that we're going to live, it's going to be very confusing. And that's going to be the exile of Edom, the longest exile ever, over 2,000 years. Be'ezrat Hashem, as Chazal say in the Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, that means 11, Masechet Rosh Hashanah 11 folio 1. Chazal say, Benisan nig'alu, Benisan atidim li'gael. So Be'ezrat Hashem, that we're going to be redeemed in this month. And we see the confusion that happened. And what we saw last night is just the tip of the miracle that what the Jewish people will see when the Mashiach comes. That's only not even the beginning. Chazal explained that the miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna do with the Jewish people, it's gonna be beyond understanding. What does it mean beyond understanding? That it's gonna be 50 times more than what HaKadosh Baruch Hu done to the Jewish people when they left Egypt. כאמץ אתך מארץ מצרים הראינו נפלאות, נון פלאות. What does it mean נון פלאות? 50 times more miracle. And what we saw last night, that over 300 rockets, drone, ballistic missile, not one cause any harm to Jewish people. Im ze lo yad Hashem, if that's not the hand of the Almighty, what else? So you can say, yes, it's the electronic, whatever you want to call it. But who's behind all of this? Melech Malchei HaMelachim, the King of all kings, the Almighty, Borei Olam. Only He can make a miracle like this. What, I don't know if you know, but Iran, when they shot all of those missiles, some of them fall in the city of Shiraz. You must see the damage that they cause in their own country. And Baruch Hashem that it happened there. Baruch Hashem. So when we sing tomorrow, when we're going to say Mizmor LeTodah, we just have to think about, just for a split of a second, take a second, lift up your eyes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Todah Rabbah. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue. And now we're gonna after all of this situation, we see something very interesting that it's mentioned in the Haggadah. And the Haggadah actually speak mitchila of the avodah zara hayu avotenu. Jeffrey, I'm going to read it in Hebrew, and then you're going to repeat it. mitchila of the avodah zara hayu avotenu, ve'achshav kirvanu hamakom la'avodato, shene'emar, vayomer Yehoshua el kol ha'am, כה אמר אדוני אלוהי ישראל, בעבר הנהר ישבו אבותיכם, מעולם תרח אבי אברהם ואבי נחור, ויעבדו אלוהים אחרים. ויקח את אביכם אברהם מעבר הנהר, והולך אותו בכל ארץ כנען, והרבה את זרעו, ויתן לו את יצחק, ויתן ליצחק את יעקב ואת עשיו, ויתן לעשיו את הר שעיר לרשת אותו, ויעקב ובניו ירדו מצרים. בכבוד.
In very ancient times, our ancestors used to serve idols. But now Hashem drew us near to serve him. As the prophet says, Joshua told the Jewish people that Hashem, God of Israel, said, Terach, father of Abraham, and Nahor lived across the river, and he used to serve idols. But I took Abraham away from across the river and brought him to Eretz Israel. I gave him many children and grandchildren. First, I gave him Isaac. To Isaac, I gave 2 sons, Jacob and Esau. But to Esau, I gave Mount Seir, which is south of Eretz Israel, for his homeland, while Jacob and his children had to go down to Egypt.
Beautiful reading. Very amazing. Rabotai, if you look at that verse, it's actually have nothing to do with Yetziat Mitzrayim. I don't know if many of you, when you read it in the past, what is that verse that we read now have to do with the Haggadah? It's have actually nothing to do with the Haggadah. Nothing. It's have nothing to do with the exile of Mitzrayim, if you think about it. So why did our sages put it here? What is the Hidush here? So the first Hidush here is to tell us that it's not embarrassment that if you've done something wrong. If you've done something wrong and you realize that you're wrong and then you rectify it, there's no embarrassment. Why? Because the Haggadah tell us in the ancient time, our fathers was idol worshippers. And the Haggadah tried to teach us that if someone done sin, he was wrong, he didn't know. Nothing wrong with that. It's more wrong to continue to do something wrong when you know that it's wrong. That's what Hazal tried to teach us. But what's really hiding behind it? We have to understand. Because if you look, the Haggadah actually starts here, Mithila, at the beginning, in the ancient time. That it speaks in a derogatory way about our forefathers, about our fathers, about our ancient fathers. And Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim, 116, folio 1, that the main reason that the Haggadah start with derogatory and then moving and praising our forefathers, you know why? Because there is nothing worse to worship idols. Why? Because it's such an embarrassment to worship idols, something that you create, something that you make it, a handmade God that you make it, and then you still worshiping it. That's the worst stupidity and the most embarrassment thing that there is. And here come to tell us that our ancient father used to behave like this. Until came who? The father of all the nation, the father of all the Jewish nation. Who he was? Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu, that at the beginning also worship idols, but suddenly he realized it doesn't make sense. If the sun, Has v'Shalom, is the God, how can it be that when it's get night, the moon taking over the sun, and the morning the sun taking over the moon? He realized that there's something above it. And when Avraham Avinu wanted HaKadosh Baruch Hu to reveal to him, he screamed and he asked, whoever you are, reveal yourself to me, God. I don't know who you are, but I would like to know, who is it? And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with his mercy and compassion, revealed himself to Avraham Avinu. And then Avraham Avinu realized that there is only one God. That means, although that this verse have nothing to do with the exile of Egypt, if we look at it, but in this verse, we're coming to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that it changed our heart, changed the heart of Avraham Avinu, that changed all the heart of all of his grandchildren and taught him that there is only one God. What does it mean? It means that here we come in to say thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you so much that you open our eyes that we're not worshiping idols. Not like the rest of the nation. There is still nation today that worshipping idols. There is one that worshipping the constipated one. In India, they're worshipping even animal. Everyone worships something else. In this verse, we come in Nahon that it has nothing to do with the exile of Mitzrayim. But Hazal constitute that and put that special verse that we should praise and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu that with his own mercies, with his own compassion, okay, on the Jewish people, that he allowed us to see who's the creator. That he allowed Avraham Avinu and he revealed to Avraham Avinu. So that will open our eyes to see who we're worshipping, that there is a creator to the world. There is a master to this world. There is a master to the universe. He is in charge. And that's the Hidush here. That in this verse, it has nothing to do with the exile of Mitzrayim. But Hazal put it in the Haggadah that we say thank you to Borei Olam. And that's the Hidush here. That's what's the Hidush. Okay? Then we sing Vehi Sha'amda La'avotenu. נכון? שלא אחד בלבד עמד עלינו לכלותנו, אלא שבכל דור ודור עומדים עלינו לכלותנו, והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם. בכבוד, ג'פרי.
Yeah. It is that promise to Abraham that protected our forefathers and us. Because more than one nation has tried to destroy us. In every generation, they try to destroy us. But God always saves us from them.
What's the Hidush here? That here they try to teach us in the Haggadah that not to lose hope. What it means not to lose hope? That we have to understand that even when things is difficult, yesterday in Eretz Israel, I was in touch with my son, with my father, with my family there, my nephews and nieces, my sisters. And you know, the time that they was waiting, no one knew what's going to happen. And they said to me, and some student also that make Aliyah was in touch with me, and they said to me, we're not sleeping, we don't know what to do, Rabbi. And I was awake until very late last night. And they said, we're waiting, but we don't know what we're waiting. And that's the scary part. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what to expect. And that's what we say in the Haggadah. Vehi Sha'amda lanu. Shelo echad bilvad. Not only one wanted to kill us, to annihilate us. That in every generation there is. Pharaoh tried to annihilate us. Didn't succeed. Babylon tried, didn't succeed. The Roman, the Greek, where they are today. Where they are today. Not exist. Then was Malchut Madai. What does it mean, Malchut Madai? Haman HaRasha, where is he today? No more. Persia does not exist. That today there is a different Persia, but it's not the same nation. It's just the same name. The same like the Egypt that tried to annihilate us, that put us into slavery, Pharaoh. But that was pagan. It's not the Egypt of today. Maybe it's the same name. The same like Greek, but it's not the Greek empire that we know. The same like Rome. It's not the Italian that we know today. It's come to tell you that there is in every generation, there is the enemy of the Jews that planning and trying to annihilate us. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם. Somehow, הקדוש ברוך הוא saved his nation, the Jewish nation, from their hand. That they can't annihilate us, they can't touch us. And what more that we're sitting now, please God, in Pesach, that we see Mashiach Tzidkenu, and to think, listen, In this generation, it's Iran and the Hamas, the Hezbollah, the Houthis, the Syrian. Who knows? Who else doesn't want to annihilate us? That's Malchut Ishmael. That's the descendants of Ishmael, our cousin Ishmael, that was a brother to whom? To Yitzhak Avinu, just from a different mother. That's our cousin. Even him is going to try. And the Zohar HaKadosh say that in the end of days, just before the Mashiach comes, the Ishmaelim, it's our cousin. They're going to ya'asu mehumot gdolot ba'olam. They're going to cause havoc in all the world. And we can see it, what they're doing all over the world. They try to stay. They kill. They're committing terrorism like you can't believe, all over the world. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised us. והקדוש ברוך הוא מצילנו מידם. Somehow HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved us from the hand of those wicked people. It doesn't make a difference if they're our cousin or they are different nation. We have to understand that we have to put our faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. En od milevado. There is no one except him that can help us. Rabotai, no one. That we have to do ishtadlut. That Israel done ishtadlut. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in the head of the American, the head of the British, the French, even the Jordanian join us. You know? But that who put in the head to help us? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what we have to remember. That if the Mashiach doesn't come before Pesach, and we're sitting on Leila Seder, to have the emunah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is our guardians 24/7, 365 days a year. And he will never allow any other nation to annihilate us. And every nation come, and every generation come. Different people, different wicked people that try to annihilate us, but they cannot succeed. We have to remember that on Pesach. And that's what we have to tell our children, our grandchildren, that no one go annihilate us, because we are the children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's our guardians. No one can do that to us. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we're not going to get to that, that we'll see Mashiach Tzidkenu quickly in our day. Then it's come something very interesting. Now we're going to speak about the next verse in Haggadah. We're going to speak about Lavan, our grandfather, from the side of Leah and Rachel. Okay, because our grandfather from Yaakov was Yitzhak, but from Rachel and Leah, we have a different grandfather, Lavan. Another grandfather like this, and we don't need enemies. Let's see why is Lavan been put into Haggadah? How is Lavan connected to the exile of Egypt? And that's Be'ezrat Hashem we try to explain. Look what it says. צאו למד. מה ביקש לבן הארמי לעשות ליעקב אבינו? שפרעה לא גזר אלא על הזכרים. ולבן ביקש לעקור את הכל, שנאמר, ארמי עובד אבי, וירד מצרימה, ויגור שם במתי מעט, ויהי שם לגוי גדול, עצום ורב. בכבוד.
Let us look at the Torah and see the kind of dangers that God saved us from. Jacob had to deal with Lavan, who was even more dangerous than Pharaoh. Pharaoh ordered that only the boy babies should be killed. But Lavan had tried to destroy Jacob's whole family. As the Torah says, Lavan, the Aramean, tried to destroy my father Jacob. After that, Jacob went down to Egypt and stayed for a while with just a few people. And there he became a nation, great, strong, and big.
Okay. So if we look at that, we have to understand how Lavan's act was worse than Pharaoh. So we know that Pharaoh have a decree to kill every male, that born. But Lavan wanted to destroy the entire Jewish nation. When I said the Jewish nation, Bnei Israel, because Yaakov Avinu called Israel, we are the children of Israel. We are his children. Where did we see that he tried to destroy us? Rabotai, the Mefarshim explained something extraordinary. The Mefarshim say like this. When Yaakov Avinu came to Lavan, he wanted to marry who? Rachel. In his mind, he wanted to marry Rachel. What did Lavan done? He swapped Rachel with Leah, and he given Leah to who? To Yaakov. Said the Mefarshim, in a pshat of the Dvarim, if you look, it's look like Lavan care about his older daughter. Because the Torah tells us that Lavan said to Yaakov, in our place, it's not, the custom is to marry first the firstborn and then the youngest. First the elderly and then the youngest. That's the pshat of the Dvarim. But the Mekubalim expand differently. Lavan knew exactly what he's doing. He knew that if Yaakov gonna marry Rachel, who gonna be the first child? Yosef HaTzadik. If Yosef HaTzadik gonna be the first child, he gonna be the firstborn. Nachon? Have to be the firstborn. The firstborn always entitled for more than all the other kids. When Yaakov Avinu made the garment, if Yosef will be the firstborn, no one will be jealous. If no one will be jealous of Yosef, no one will sell them. And Yaakov and Yosef HaTzadik wouldn't need to go down to Egypt. If he didn't need to go down to Egypt, wouldn't be exile. The Jewish people will never have to go to slavery for Egypt, never have to live in Egypt for 400 years. So Lavan HaRasha, that was a witchcrafter, was a sorcerer, so that if he gonna allow this young girl, Rachel, to marry who? Yaakov, they're not gonna be Egypt. He said, in that case, let me marry who? Leah. Leah, in the meantime, gonna have kids. Yosef not gonna be the firstborn. If Yosef not gonna be the firstborn, he knew that Rachel, that his beloved wife. And he knew that her son, Yosef, he didn't know that it is named Yosef, but the firstborn, he's the most important. And that's who Yaakov Avinu gonna love more, because they so gonna be connected. They're gonna be joined. He said, in that case, gonna be a hatred between my son. And Hazal say that there is nothing worse that when there is problem between the kids, okay? Kasha, תרבות רעה בביתו של אדם יותר ממלחמת גוג ומגוג. There is nothing worse for the parents when there is a problem and the children doesn't behave, or has v'shalom doesn't follow the footstep of their father in religion. There's nothing worse than that. And Lavan said, you know how I'm going to manage to destroy the children of Yaakov Avinu, the children of Israel? By that I'm going to swap the sisters. I'm going to give in Leah to Yaakov. Leah will have kids. Later on, Rachel will have kids. And immediately the jealousy and the anosmy that's going to be between them, the hatred. That's what's going to destroy them. And that's how we tried to destroy the children of Israel. And then they're going to sell their brother. Inevitably, their brother going to reach to Egypt. Then all of them going to go to where? To slavery. And they're going to be slaves. And that's how they're going to be annihilated. And they're not going to be any more Jews. Not going to be, the children of Israel. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have a different plan. And said the Mekubalim, that's how suddenly Lavan, that was a long before the story of Egypt, what he planned. And that's why we're bringing him here to the Haggadah, to understand how horrible Lavan was. Everything with Lavan was with plain, everything was wicked, everything was full of sorcery, hatred, jealousy against Yaakov Avinu, against believing in the Almighty. Why? Because we know that Lavan was an idol worshipper. Not only that, he was a pagan. He didn't want anyone to believe that there is a creator. And that's why he wanted to destroy us. After that, the next part of the Haggadah, look what it says. ויראו אותנו המצרים ויענונו ויתנו עלינו עבודה קשה. בכבוד, Jeffrey.
Just trying to
find that?
I said I've got
and the Egyptian make us. No, after that, what?
Sorry.
And the Egyptian make us wicked. And they tortured us. And the Egyptian tortured us.
One second. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
The Egyptians were bad to us. They made us suffer and made us do hard work. The Egyptians were bad to us, as the Torah says. The Egyptians said, come, let us outsmart the Jews. Otherwise, there will be so many of them that in case of war, they will join our enemies and they will fight us and leave our country. They made us suffer, as the Torah says. The Egyptians set up masters over the Jews to make them suffer with hard work. And the Jews built treasure cities for Pharaoh. The cities were called Pithom and Ramesses. And they made us do hard work, as the Torah says. The Egyptians forced the Jews to do back-breaking work.
Shukra. Jeffrey. What's the Hidush here? The Hidush here is the first words of the beginning of all of that sentence. Vayir'u otanu hamitzrim. Vayir'u. It doesn't say Vayare'u. Vayir'u. They like shepherd us. Like a shepherd that shepherd the flock, He showed them where to go, where to come. In Hebrew, it says Vayir'u. That there was bad to us. What does it mean, bad to us? We have to understand. On a pshat of the dvarim is like the Haggadah said, that the Egyptian was horrible to us, that put us through slavery, through hard slavery, avodah kasha, beparech ubalevenim, that they give us a hard slave work, that we have to build a city of Pithom and Ramses. That's the pshat of the dvarim. But the Mefarshim say, look at the first word. It doesn't say Vayeru, that there was wicked to us. Read it. Vayeru. What does it mean? That the Egyptian have a plan how to bring the Jewish people so low that they will reach to the 49 level of impurity. That means that the Egyptian, they caused us to this deterioration that bring us so low. First of all, they start to teach us how to worship idols. And some of the Jewish people start to worship idols. The Jewish people stopped doing even Brit Milah. That our father, Avraham Avinu, in the age of 99, done Brit Milah. And after that, everyone done Brit Milah. But when the children of Israel reached to Egypt, some of the people also stopped doing Brit Milah. Why? Because the Egyptian that we lived amongst, we start to adopting their way. Because Bnei Israel lived in Egypt. The Egyptian was full. Egypt was Ervat Haaretz. The Torah said. What it means, Ervat Haaretz? The worst place to live. It was full of immorality. And we learn about it. V'tihi tza'aka gdola, please God, we'll get to it. B'chol eretz Mitzrayim. That was a great shout, great scream in that night. We have to explain what it is. There was full with immorality, paganism. Everything was materialistic in Egypt. And the children of Israel, unfortunately, got hooked by it. And from there, it was only one way down. And that's what it says, vayare'u. What it means, vayare'u? That they actually help us and taught us how to behave in such a manner, to be so full of immorality, sorry. And that is what the verse tried to teach us. Nachon the pshat of the dvarim that speak about hard work, but we have to see what was the spiritual disaster that happened to the children of Israel when they was in Egypt. That they lost, number one, the faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They start worshiping idols. They become pagan. They stop doing Brit Milah. They start to become like the Egyptian. Once that they do all of that, there's only one ticket. Only one ticket to continue them. And that's how they managed to put us into slavery. And that's what the Hidush. How did they put us to Hidush? By that they help us and taught us how to behave and to live our tradition. That's what this verse tried to tell us. Let's go after that, and it says, "Vanitzak el Adonai Elohe Avotenu, vayishma Adonai et kolenu, vayere et onyenu, ve'et amalenu, ve'et lachatzenu."
We cried out to Hashem, the God of our ancestors. Hashem heard our cry, and he saw our suffering, our misery, and our oppression.
Okay, here the Agada tell us that we scream to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, vanitzak, and we shout to the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To who? To the Father of our four ancestors. Vayishma, and then he listened. First, we have to scream, and then he listened. And then he saw our stress, our dire strait that we are. What is the Hidush here? It's come to tell you that when the Jewish people, when Bnei Israel realize there's no one else to put our faith on, when they lift up the eyes to the Almighty, vanitzak el Adonai Elohei avotenu, vayishma. Immediately the Almighty here. What is the Hidush here? What is the Hidush here? Rabotai is a Hidush and Musar to us, not to put our faith in America or any other country in the world. We have to put our faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vanitzak el Adonai Elohei avotenu. When we scream and we shout and we lift up our eyes to our Father in heaven, immediately you hear that in every time that we in sorrows and we lift up our eyes to heaven, miracle. Last night, they didn't know what's going to happen. No one know what to expect. The Tehillim all over the world was running like you can't believe. Slichot all over the world. Why? Because people realize we don't know. They lift up their eyes. They scream to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're calling me. I'm coming. But when you're telling HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no, I'll manage by myself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu say, okay, you want to manage by yourself? Try to deal with them. And that's the Hidush here. That we have to understand that it doesn't make a difference if it's the individual or the klal. Everyone. If a person in Chorus, just lift up your eyes to the Almighty. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I have no one else, only to you. Only you can help me. No doctor, no human being. I put my faith in you, we'll see miracle. What does it come to teach us? The Haggadah come to tell us that in a time of dire strait, if you lift up your eyes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and cry to him, scream to him, speak to him, he will hear it and the salvation will come. But if you're going to be still, yeah, it's okay. I have America behind me. I have Britain. I have Europe. Then he said, deal with it. If you put your faith, kohi ve'otzem yadi, go by it. But when you call me, when you realize that you can't do nothing without me, say HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then immediately I will hear. And the salvation will come. What the Haggadah tried to teach us, Rabotai, that only when the children of Israel suddenly realize, listen, there's no one else to turn to, that's when the salvation comes. That's when the salvation comes. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu immediately sent who? Moshe Rabbeinu. And that was the Hidush. That the Haggadah tried to tell us. I think that we should stop here, and I'll tell you why. Because I would like next week to start the next part, Va'avarti. And I passed in the land of Mitzrayim and that night. Remember, that's where we're going to stop. And we're going to continue from here, Be'ezrat Hashem. But with your permission, I promised last week, Sunday, that we're going to go quick through the Seder plate. So, Rabotai, we have to understand that there's secret about the Seder plate. The Seder plate is a remedy for prosperity. If people want to be rich financially, happily, it's the Seder plate. And Hazal say, as much that the Seder plate going to be beautiful, you make a beautiful Seder plate, that's what's hiding behind it. What? Prosperity. What are we putting on a Seder plate? There's certain symbol. we have the celery that we have to put, and we know that the celery is karpas, samech. That's the secret of the, if you take the secret of samech, gematria shishim, what it means, that it's the 600,000 people that they have to put in slavery in Egypt. Other thing that the secret behind it is the samech, is the pasim, the garment, the striped garment, that caused, that what caused the jealousy of the brother to sell Yosef HaTzadik, and that was brought us to exile. Say Rabbi Manoach. Rabbi Manoach lived in the 13th century. He said that why we eat karpas on Pesach. He said that in the ancient day, people that used to go to war and they wanted to win the war, they used to eat karpas. Karpas give you kind of a strength to go to a war and to fight with courage. That's why we're eating karpas. Then come the shake bones. We know that the shake bones, it's to commemorate the Korban Pesach that Be'ezrat Hashem we're going to celebrate this year. Bet HaMikdash going to be. And that's in memory that HaKadosh Baruch Hu redeemed us with Zroa Netuya, with a stretched arm, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out where? From Egypt. Then we have the egg. You know, we have an egg. The egg is to symbol to Korban Hagigah. The Korban is the offering, the festival offering. And Hazal explained that the main reason that we eat egg in Egypt, they said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, egg, it's a quick food that you can cook. You boil it. It takes a few minutes, not more, and it gets cooked. That we saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu the same like we eating that food that would cook so quickly. Please redeem us from this long exile. Please redeem us the same like an egg getting cooked. Another idea why dafka to eat egg on Pesach, it's if you look, as much that you cook the egg longer and longer, the egg getting harder and harder, okay? It's to say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, look, this exile getting harder and harder. We're waiting for you to redeem us. Please, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. As much that we more in exile, that's how our pain and agony. That's the Hidush. Then we have the chrein, the Ashkenazi custom to eat chrein, the Sfaradis to eat what we call it lettuce, that's maror. The Gemara in Masechet Pesachim say, Mai maror? What is a maror? So Hazal say, chasa. Why do we eat maror? It's to tell us about the bitter life that the Jewish people, the children of Israel, have in Egypt, that they've been put into slavery, okay? That it's come to tell us how they put and they make the life of Bnei Israel so bitter. That it means it's come to tell us to remember and not to forget the hard time that the Jewish people have in Egypt. Then we have something very interesting. We take 3 matzot, okay, and we put it also on a plate. Why dafka 3 matzot? I'm going to bring 3 different ideas. The one is the words Avraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, our forefathers. The other idea is it's the 4 people that there is in a Jewish nation: Kohen, Levy, Israel. There's different level amongst the Jewish people. But really, why do we have to put matzot, dafka 3? Hazal say when the angel come to visit Avraham Avinu, when it was on a third day after he had the Brit Milah, when Avraham Avinu saw that the visitors came, those angels, he didn't know that the angel, what did he say to Sarah Imenu? He said to her like this. He said to Sarah Imenu, Mahari, Lushi Shalosh Se'im. Please make 3 cakes. Hazal explained that that day was 2 Nisan, the 15th of Nisan, that was Pesach. Avraham Avinu, although that Pesach didn't happen yet, the story of the Exodus, but he kept it, and he didn't eat Hametz. So he said to her, we have visitors, please make for him cookies. When it said cookies, it means unleavened bread. And that was the Hidush why Dafka 3. Then we have the salty water. If you look, the salty water, we don't put inside the Seder plate. It's always outside the Seder plate. Why Dafka we have to eat, to dip the egg in the salty water? So one is to remember the tears of the Jewish people, that how much they cried in Egypt, the children of Israel, from the hard slavery. Another idea is we're showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu how much we crying that Bet HaMikdash not exist. But if you take the word water, water symbol mercy and compassion. That's mean the water is Rahamim. What is Rahamim? Mercy. While salt represents judgment. Okay? What does it mean? That we take the karpas, the hard suffering that we hate, and we dip it what? In a salty water. To cancel if there is any bad judgment against us. Another interpretation that they bring, that if you take what's happened, it's to remind the 600,000 people that done Brit Milah, okay? Where, when they have to eat the Korban Pesach, you remember that Moshe Rabbeinu made the Korban Pesach. At the beginning, they didn't want to do Brit Milah, but later on, they go on, the smell, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the smell of Gan Eden inside that beautiful Korban Pesach, and all wanted to eat. So they came to Moshe Rabbeinu, and he said to them, you have to do Brit Milah, and they done. If they say that something happened, that the first have to go to the now, then what's happened? That from that they got circumcised, and then they're going to be tovel, to go into the mikvah in a now, the water in a now becomes so murky, so cloudy from the blood of the Brit Milah. That's what we're saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We remind him that we're dipping the egg in a salty water to remind them the merit of the Brit Milah that we done before that we eaten Korban Pesach. To remind them that merit. And then we take the middle matcha from the 3 matcha, and we have to break it. Okay? 1 piece big, 1 piece small. The Mekubalim explain that you have to do a different shape. One shape has to be a shape of a yud. It's very difficult. Let's don't speak about it. Why do we have to take the matcha and to break it to 2? What is the hidush here? That it's come to tell you the same like we break in the matcha. That's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea, okay, awards the Jewish people when they came to the Sea of Reeds. When they arrived at the Sea of Reeds, that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu split the sea. Another idea is that it's to remind us how did HaKadosh Baruch Hu change and shorten the slavery of the Jewish people. By that we break in, it's to remind us that Kadosh Baruch Hu changed the slavery of the Jewish people from 400 years that we're supposed to be there and 210 only to 86 years. I saw another interpretation that brought by Rabbi David Aparahi, that he said like this, that the main reason that we're splitting the sea, the matzah, it's not just to remind us about splitting of the sea. He said that the poor people, if they have a bread, they split it, and every day they eat a little bit of it. Okay? That it's come to teach us how poor we was in Eretz Mitzrayim, not to forget the poverty that we was in Eretz Mitzrayim. Okay? That it's come to tell you something very interesting. If we take the word Yahatz, Yahatz is to break, the gematria of it is 108. Okay? That it's also Gehenna. Gehenna is also 108. To tell us by that the person actually break the matzah to 2, and he break it, that's how we've been redeemed from the judgment of Gehenna. So when we're sitting on a table and we take the middle matzah, a person should think about all of this, and that's doing atonement to all the sin, all the judgment that there is on the Jewish people. Imagine, Yahatz, 108, Gematria, 108, okay? Because Tzaddik is 90, Yud is 10, together is 100. Het is 8, it's 108. It's come to tell you, when you break the matzah to a half, it's Gehenna. What it means, Gehenna? The same like I break the matzah quickly. By that I managed to break it, I don't have to go to Gehenna. So Hazal done all of those custom, all of those symbol to help us to be redeemed from all the different judgment that there is on a Jewish people. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, wow, I've gone 10 minutes after, 11 minutes after, I'm sorry, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will redeem us and will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our days. And the word of the prophet, that we should see those miracles in our own eyes. Be'ezrat Hashem, speedily. Amen. Ken yehi ratzon. Those of you that want to ask questions, bechavod. Ken, bechavod.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you? Anthony, how are you?
Anthony. Erev Tov. It was very nice to see you with Achnasat Sefer Torah tonight.
I enjoyed it.
Good.
So
Ken,
last night was a night of miracles and wonders. Great miracles and wonders.
the beginning, just the beginning. This is the beginning of the miracle. This is nothing for what we're going to see when the Mashiach comes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu just let us taste what he's preparing for us. What he showed us last night to the Jewish people and all the world, all over the world, that's nothing for what's still going to come when HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to redeem us.
Okay, thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question, Rabotai? Anyone want to ask? Bechavod. Just unmute yourself and bechavod.
There's a couple of questions, Rav.
Oh, I waited. No, bechavod. Jeffrey.
Couple of questions. Whoa, this is a very. This is quite amazing. You explained that the plan in Egypt was to bring us low to worship idols, to have no bris milah. Why? Because the Egyptians, they were full of immorality, paganism, materialism, the whole lot. You know what worries me? We see the same today in the United States. We see America as the new Egypt. It's terrible to say this because they're supposed to be helping. America is supposed to back Israel and what have you, and maybe they're guilty. Maybe they feel guilty and they feel that we are their redemption. We are their people that they've got to save, and they're doing something to hold them from being total disintegrating. It's quite frightening, actually. The spiritual, because America at one stage was very spiritual. Yes, they believed in a different way, but they still believed in God, and and thank God there are a certain amount that are still doing that, and they're supporting Israel. They're backing us as best they can. But if you look at the whole scheme of things, I mean,
what's happening behind that
is the deterioration.
What you must ask yourself, why are they backing us? Why? Why do they need such a small country? Why are they backing us? When it didn't suit them to back us a few weeks ago, Biden says stop, and Israel have to stop, because otherwise we wouldn't get the weapon. We couldn't continue.
Yeah.
They're holding us very tight. We have to be drawn from Gaza. They're playing with us like puppet.
Yeah.
But we as Jews, instead of vanitzak, that we should lift up our eyes to heaven. Last night, no Jews didn't read Tehillim. Everyone read Tehillim. Everyone was awake. Okay, I have to be awake because, you know, my family there, my son and I knew that he warned us that he's in the Air Force, his base is going to be very, very busy. Because that's where the plane, most of the plane was working from. No. So it's not a chokhmah. But every Jew was awake. Every Jew davened. Every Jew said Tehillim. That's what changed. That only one Bedouin girl got injured. How come that not one Jew? Ballistic missile. That means that they go out of the atmosphere. We did not understand the miracle that we saw last night. Dr. Les tell us it's a Star War, he call it. But we have to understand what's happened last night. It's just the beginning of the miracle. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell you, I can change all the game completely. No one can harm you. How can it be over 300 missile, drone, whatever you want to call them? Not one, Baruch Hashem. Not one, Baruch Hashem. If you can't see that, if a person can't see that, can't understand that, you'll ask every Gentile will tell you that only the Almighty can do it. How many the Iron Dome, how many plane can stop? You're talking about 300 that's coming in one shot from all over. It's not ununderstandable. If that's not a miracle, so what is a miracle? You follow, Jeffrey? You follow.
There's one thing that the whole world davened, the whole world prayed. There was a unity. There was a big unity. Everyone davening together.
And all the world, Jeffrey, sorry to cut you, in shock still today. The same like we in shock. We don't understand what's happened.
Yeah.
Everyone is in shock. We're taking it. We continue with our life for the simple reason. You know why? We can't understand what's happened there last night. Ballistic missile that go over the atmosphere, and then it's supposed to come. Do you understand what speed it's supposed to come, the damage? And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I'll show it to you. Go to the Dead Sea. Look how ballistic missiles look. Go look at them. They're lying there.
Yeah.
So I can change everything. But we don't understand the miracle.
Yeah.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to open our eyes.
Okay.
So America does play with us. America wants us to bow down to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you said it, you repeated it a few times. We lift up our eyes to heaven, but you know, that always worried me that if you just listen to the first verse, it doesn't sound so good. When you read the second verse, then you know what it means. But it says, you know, Esa Eina Elaharim, lift our eyes to the mountains. From whence comes my help? And only in the second verse my help comes from the heavens. If you just read that, it's like all the other nations that were idol worship, the people, they go up the mountains, everything's up the mountain. So me is always worrying that. Why does there it's not in El Shamayim?
Now you understand.
Yeah.
אשא עיניי אל ההרים, מאין יבוא עזרי. עזרי מהם השם.
Yeah.
You know, last night, Dr. Liz tell us that everyone was afraid to go and see those missiles.
Yeah.
Everyone was in a bomb shelter. Everyone was in a mamad, whatever you want to call it. זה לא משנה. But everyone knew they can't do nothing. What's left to do? ונצעק אל השם אלוקינו.
Yeah. Cry out.
And then, are you calling me? It's like a child calling to his father. Are you calling me, my son? I'm coming.
Yeah.
ונצעק. We just have to shout. Lift up your eyes to heaven. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will listen to you. But shout to him from the deep of your heart. Then he will come. And we saw what he done last night.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
רק חבל. It's shame that we don't call him all the time. I'm speaking for myself. You all tzaddikim. I'm speaking for myself. Can't speak for you guys. That is the difference. זה החידוש. That's the חידוש. And that's what the Agada tell us. You want to be redeemed? ונצעק אל השם אלוקינו. Shout to him in every chorus. You have a problem with your parnasa? Shout to him. Speak to him. Call him. Are you calling me, my son? What's your problem? Parnasa. Okay. I'll help you. What's your problem? Health. No problem. Just call me. Talk to me. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. To talk to him. You need parnasa. You need shlom bayit. You need chinuch yaladim. You need kids, people that battling to have kids. Whatever you want. You want health. Speak to me. Call me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said. But call him from the deep of your heart. Are you calling me? Vayishma. And then he will listen. And the salvation will come. That's the hidush that the Agada tried to teach us.
Yeah, that's a central theme. That's the central theme of the whole of Pesach. Crying out to Hashem.
Exactly. Let's cry to Hashem, and then He redeemed us from all of this long exile.
What a different take this is. It's not just a redemption out of it, but how do we get redemption? By crying out.
That's the remedy. That's the Agada. That's exactly.
Okay, Rob, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any other question? No? Rabotai, I hope that you enjoy. I hope that it's going to bring a different meaning, this Pesach, to understand the Agada a bit in depth from a different idea, different perspective. When you read the Agada and you understand what's hiding behind every sentence, behind every word, Nachon that we read it, this is the pshat of the dvarim, but we have to understand that there is also depths into it. That the Haggadah come to tell us to tell, mishon lehagid. To tell what? Nachon that we have to tell the story of the Exodus, but it's to implant on us the belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What emunah? That He's the only one. Hu kol yechol. He everything. He's everything, and He can do everything. He can be our salvation, no one else. No America, no Europe, no NATO, no Shmomato. En od milevado, only Him. And last night was just the beginning for us to understand what HaKadosh Baruch Hu planning and how is He planning. Rabotai, I hope that you enjoyed the show. I would like to thank each one of you individually. Thank you for joining us. I hope that bring a different idea to look at Pesach. It will change your Pesach, Be'ezrat Hashem, that when you're sitting around the Seder, try to share those encouragement words, those encouraged words to believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to understand how can we be redeemed from that difficult. So Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll see miracle. I see that Louis with us. Louis, you unmuted. Bechavod, you wanted to,
Yes.
Louis, you wanted to say something. Bechavod, Louis.
It was a miracle. At 3:30 this morning, I'm listening to the planes flying around. And my wife says to me, what you up so early? I said, I want to hear what's going on. And it was a miracle. Everything was a miracle. Hashem's looking after us. And that's the end of the story. Because Hashem is going to give them hell that they've never, ever heard before. And please believe me, the Mamazairim will regret everything they've done.
Amen. But the Chokmah is
Amen,
that
amen,
we'll see
Louis.
it in our days. We want to see it in our days, that's revenge. Because the prophets say, like this, the prophet Amos, if I'm not mistaken, "Mize ba hamutz mi botzra?" Who's coming sour from crushing the grapes? Chazal say that the Zohar HaKadosh explained the word of the prophet. He said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu have a white garment. Listen to that, Rabotai. And that white garment, every drop of every Jew that ever been killed for the sake that he was from the children of Israel, for the sake that he was a Jew, that drop of blood that been taken from him that killed him, that drop of blood with a picture of it is on that white garment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wear. We don't understand what does it mean. And said the prophet, who comes so angry, so cross, so sour? Said the Zohar HaKadosh, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna take the revenge against the enemy of the Jews, we don't understand what's gonna happen. You understand, Louis, what you're saying?
Yeah, all hell will break loose.
When he's gonna take the revenge,
yes,
it's hell. Hell, it's not a place. Hell is a plaza hotel for them.
Yeah,
Gonna be a 5-star hotel. You know what hell they're gonna go through? Hell is a place. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu take revenge.
But it's taken a long, long time. And it's now the days are coming. People don't understand it. It's coming. It's coming. It's here. It's here.
Amen.
Yeah.
We're very close. Yeah. No, Rabotai, I would like to wish all of you a beautiful week ahead. Be'ezrat Hashem. We have to understand that we have to work on our faith. When we singing tomorrow, when we reading Mizmor LeTodah straight after Baruch She'amar, we say Mizmor LeTodah. Just for a few seconds, just say thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for those amazing miracle that you done to open our eyes. And that's the Hidush.
Yeah.
Be'ezrat Hashem, that we'll see miracle, and we'll see Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Ken Yeh Ratzon. Rabotai, thank you for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed the show. To wish you all a beautiful night. Have a good night. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should see great miracle. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Shakor, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.